Hey, welcome into Mornings on Main Street, Southern Middle Tennessee, the show that looks at Giles, Maury, and Lawrence counties off in the pages of your local newspapers. I'm Scott Stewart. I am the publisher of your local newspapers. That would be the Pulaski Citizen, Lawrence County Advocate, and Main Street Maury. We cover Maury, Lawrence, and Giles counties. We'd love to get you a copy of your local newspaper every week delivered to your mailbox or on your computer. If you would like a subscription, please do one of the following: 931-363-3544. You can call that number, or you can call 931-762-1726. Or you can call 615-452-4940. If you would like to get onto our website and get a subscription, you can do so. PulaskiCitizen.com, MainStreetMurray.com, LawrenceCountyAdvocate.net, and any of those will get you all the information you need to get a subscription to any of our newspapers. Well, let's get our weekly wraps up going with the Lawrence County Advocate wrap. The Lawrence County Advocate wrap starts this week with the news from last week's County Commission meeting that Steve Hagan, the son of the late Commissioner Roy Hagan, was chosen to fill his father's commission seat. So congratulations to Steve on that. Also on A1 is the news that Modine's LB2 plant in Lawrenceburg will permanently lay off 162 employees. We've got some details on that. The school board received the annual State of the System report. And we've got a photo of young Epson Powell being named the school board's Student of the Month. It's a sweet picture and a lot of information out of the January school board meeting there on the front page. Etheridge has a vacant city board position to fill, and we've got an article on the state legislature's vote to approve the Education Freedom Act with quotes from our local representatives. We've also got information from our elected officials on other issues from the recent legislative special session, and that's all inside this week's edition. Also inside, a homeless man was arrested with drugs on church property recently, and we've got a couple of scam warnings coming out of the local officials. It's the first paper of the month, which means Ann Morrow's monthly ad is on page 83, and don't miss it. Ann's ads are always informative and fun. We've received a lot of information from colleges and universities across the country concerning the continued academic success of our Lawrence County students. Lawrence County Public School has sent us their perfect attendance list, and February is American Heart Month, and we've got a column from STRHS cardiologist Dr. Brian Cole. And as always, Lawrence County Advocate has obituaries, local community announcements, government notices, auctions and estate sales, the forecast from Tennessee Valley Weather, puzzles, and the local church directory. Well, now here's sports. We've got highlights from last week's Basketball Coaches Association of Tennessee coaches poll that has the Loretto boys still there at the top of Class 2A rankings. We also have a look at last week's tough matchups for the Mustangs, who remain undefeated, by the way, 22-0, and we move into February, and the race towards the tournament time is on. And the Loretto Mustangs had a couple of tough games last week, and we've got some information on that. The Lady Mustangs are really starting to flex their muscles. They built those muscles up back in December playing a murderer's row of a schedule, and it's showing up now in February right when you want it to. Summertown's boys won last week over Perry County, as did the Lady Eagles. And Lawrence County's boys and girls each split games with Murfreesboro Central and Giles County last week. Games remaining this week and next week include February 7th, Friday, Loretto hosting Summertown and Lawrence County hosting Tullahoma. Tuesday, February 10th, Loretto hosting Collinwood. And Friday, February 11th, Lawrence County at Marshall County and Summertown at Wayne County. Also in sports this week, one of the Southern brothers made the podium at the Jiu-Jitsu Championship in Europe, in Portugal. And Rebecca Heineman of the state champion Loretto volleyball team has signed to continue her education at Freed Hardeman University. Finally, if you're interested in working with us here at the Lawrence County Advocate, check out the ad on the back of the B section. give me a call, send me an email. I'd love to talk to anybody who has a passion about different parts of our community so that you can help us share your passion and cover that part of the community. The freelance system we have is great, and we'd love to have as many people involved as possible. Well, that's it for the Lawrence County Advocate this week. We'll be right back right after this.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
So Busy Bee is a very close-knit family. We fight just like every family does. We have arguments, but we always come out with a solution to the problems. We don't just fight about what we want, we fight about what customers need. We want to make sure that every customer we go to is more than satisfied. And that doesn't just start whenever we show up at their door, that starts when we show up every day at work. We want to make sure that we are serving our customers to the best of our ability.
He shoots, and he scores!
This holiday season, the largest lantern festival in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. Experience more than 1,000 all-new, handcrafted lanterns, towering creatures, magical worlds, and a North Pole village. At the center of it all, the Smashville Ice Rink. Welcome back to Zoolumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
So, you want to be a part of the Busy Bee team, huh? Well, how do you see yourself fitting into the organization? Oh, I get it. You want to be a weather bee.
Hello, I'm your dedicated Columbia reporter, Andrew Pearson. We've got a great slate of stories for you today in the February 5th issue of Main Street Maury. Here's the wrap on them. In our top story this week, our very own Main Street Sports has hit a big milestone. Our sports broadcasters Maurice Patton and Wade Neely have pulled over 1 million lifetime views for their Main Street Sports programs. They attribute their success to their producer Mark Rogers, the high-profile guests they attract, and the fact that they go beyond pro and college stuff to cover what happens in high school sports in southern Middle Tennessee. I congratulate them personally, and so do our publisher and the CEO of Main Street Media. Their programs can be watched on any of our social media outlets. In a public forum, Columbia's planning department asked for input from the people of the city's east side on how to make their neighborhood more beneficial and friendly to pedestrians. The residents of East Columbia and their representatives on the city council and the county commission attended the forum and wrote down their ideas. These included building sidewalks, carving out a path to walk or cycle along Iron Bridge Road, and offering amenities and programs in public spaces to make people healthy. Mount Pleasant City Commission celebrated the results of the city's financial audit at their January meeting. The city's debt service ratio is 5.02, which is 4 times the rate for a really successful borrower. The city also resolved to buy a third water filtration skid, rezone land for a neighborhood on Magnolia Drive, and pay the construction company $135,000 extra because all across town, TDOT required them to bury utility lines 2 feet deeper in the ground. Columbia's revamped Shady Brook Mall will welcome new tenants in 2025. Highland Capital, the new owners of the mall, have signed leases with Academy Sports, Beals, and Five Below to open stores in the Plex. They're in talks with other retailers too. And Maury Alliance celebrated its 100th anniversary with the dinner on Thursday night. Dozens of businesses, organizations, and civic bodies reserved tables at the Memorial Building, and the Alliance presented the statistics there on its achievements in 2024. Beyond the first page, Columbia also got its audit results back, and they're clear of financial shenanigans for the year. The historian Adam Southern has published a 270-page book on the history of Culleoka, which will be launched, so to speak, this Saturday at the Culleoka Fire Department building. The state lawmakers passed a bill to appropriate $447 million for school vouchers. High school art students from Culleoka created 15 decorative paper cakes for the 15th anniversary party of the Amuseum in Columbia. The Dolly Parton original musical announced its world premiere at Belmont, where it will run from mid-July to mid-August. And the Hampshire Unit School is trading out its slot letter marquee sign out front for one that will display messages in LED lights. I don't know about you, but I'm sorry to see those marquees go away from any place. Anyway, that's the county news for this week, and up next is sports coverage with our own milestone setter, Maurice Patton. Take it away, sir.
Hey, I'm Maurice Patton, sports editor at Main Street Maury. This week's print edition of Main Street Maury has coverage of some high school basketball, because it's that time of year. It's got some coverage of some high school wrestling, because it's also that time of year. Santa Fe played Culleoka for the second time in 2 nights out at Culleoka and dealt the Warriors their second defeat in as many games. We've got coverage of that doubleheader out there. The girls' game, by the way, was a nail biter. Went down to the final 0.3 of a second. Read about it all in the print edition of Main Street Maury. Summit's wrestlers went to the Ag Expo up in Franklin for the state duels this past weekend, came back with their best finish ever, finishing runner-up, losing as everyone does to Cleveland. Cleveland winning its 8th consecutive Class AA state duels championship by defeating Summit in the finals. We've got coverage of that in Main Street Maury as well. And it's getting busy out on Hampshire Highway for Columbia State Athletics. The men's basketball team continues charging toward a conference championship. We've got coverage of the doubleheader for the men and the women against Volunteer State last week. Spoiler alert, they swept out at the Web. Also, Columbia State baseball got started up this past weekend. They had Northeast Mississippi come up on Sunday, Groundhog's Day doubleheader. Got coverage of that in Main Street Maury as well. Zion Christian's Gabe Davenport went over the 2,000-point mark for his career recently. We've got some coverage of how that came about and where he stands. Independence is hosting the Region 6A, the Region 6 AA individual wrestling tournament this weekend. We get you all set for that. Got some coverage of Columbia Academy basketball as well. We've got high school basketball box scores and upcoming schedule. We've got area scoring and 3-point leaders. So a lot going on in this week's print edition of Main Street Maury. Be sure and pick that up. On the website coming up this week, mainstreetmaury.com, we'll have some coverage of high school basketball. Imagine that. Big game this week between Santa Fe and Richland. We will have coverage of that. We'll also have, again, coverage of that Region 6 AA wrestling tournament this weekend up at Independence, and more Columbia State basketball. So be sure and check all of that out on the website at mainstreetmaury.com and in next week's print edition of Main Street Maury. I'm Maurice Patton, sports editor at Main Street Maury. We'll see y'all next week.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
So Busy Bee is a very close-knit family. We fight just like every family does. We have arguments, but we always come out with a solution to the problems. We don't just fight about what we want, we fight about what customers need. We want to make sure that every customer we go to is more than satisfied. And that doesn't just start whenever we show up at their door, that starts when we show up every day at work. We want to make sure that we are serving our customers to the best of our ability.
He shoots and he scores!
This holiday season, the largest lantern festival in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. Experience more than 1,000 all-new, handcrafted lanterns, towering creatures, magical worlds, and a North Pole village. At the center of it all, the Smashville Ice Rink. Welcome back to Zoolumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
So, you want to be a part of the Busy Bee team, huh? Well, how do you see yourself fitting into the organization? Oh, I get it. You want to be a weather bee.
Hey, the Pulaski Citizen Wrap starts this week with our Citizen Spotlight, Dennis Edwards, whose photo graces the spot of honor at the top and center of the front page. Also on page 1, the PES Power Board accepted a bid for new traffic signals at the intersection of West College and 8th Streets. That is the intersection right there at McDonald's. So be looking down the road for the new signals to be going up at that intersection. Giles County has received a $20,000 grant, and we've got an article on last week's Education for Freedom Act vote by the state legislature. The Pulaski Board of Mayor and Aldermen voted to purchase equipment to help clear streets in Pulaski in case of snow. And PES Energize is celebrating the installation of high-speed broadband internet to their 1,000th subscriber from the grant recently. And it's some folks that most of us know. So check that out on page 1. Inside, it's Around the Square Week, and we're spotlighting Reeves Drugstore with some of their Valentine's specials. Also find out what other businesses around the square are doing for Valentine's Day. State Representative Clay Doggett and State Senator Joey Hensley share their thoughts on last week's state legislature special session. We celebrate 115 years of scouting this week with our annual Boy Scouts salute page. The Giles County NAACP celebrated Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and installed their new officers recently. The Dantacleer is back, and this week he unveils a couple of high-profile Fantacleers. You'll find out all about that inside this week's edition. Baby Girl is the GCHA Pet of the Week. Margaret Campbell shares some of her Super Bowl snack recipes. And as always, Pulaski Citizen has obituary notices, court docket, property transfers, government public notices, backward glances, fun and games, church directory, community briefs, and church briefs, and the weather from Tennessee Valley Weather. We've got all that, and of course, here's Wade with sports.
What's up, folks? Wade Neely here, sports editor at the Pulaski Citizen. Time now for a look at what's in print and what's online for the February 5th edition of the Pulaski Citizen sports page. Basketball with a little dash of baseball in this week's PC update. And we start with the hardwood, and we start with the Richland Lady Raiders, who continue to roll right along as Richland picked up 2 nice victories last week, dominating on Tuesday night versus arch rival Cornersville. 46-23 was your final score there. Richland kind of taking care of business, especially playing at home versus their heated rival, and Richland remains unbeaten in district play. They stepped out of district action on Friday night, but they still got a nice win. Had to hang on, was a little closer than maybe they would have wanted, but a 50-46 victory versus Community on Friday as the Richland Lady Raiders continue to cruise right along. Speaking of Friday and speaking of the Richland Lady Raiders, congratulations to Richland Junior Bailey Blair. She only needed 2 points, and she got them early Friday night, but she is the newest member of the 1,000-point club, surpassing 1,000 career points during her Lady Raider tenure. Current teammate Shelby Higgins is already a member of that group, and those two have been fascinating to watch as they continue to play well together. Again, Blair a junior, Higgins a senior, and both now the newest members of the 1,000-point club. Cruising along, the Bobcats, that's the Giles County boys basketball version at least, they picked up a nice victory Friday night. It was a tough loss Tuesday versus Tullahoma, but GCHS bounced back in convincing fashion Friday, knocking off Lawrence County 55-34. And GCHS kind of took care of business. Felt like it had been a while since they were back inside Hardin Mayfield, and it was a raucous environment, as you might expect, with their arch rival coming to town. But Giles County led wire to wire, kind of relying on their defense, especially in the second half. The defense turned into quick points for GCHS. And then in the second half, scoring kind of went away for both teams, but the Bobcat defense kind of led them throughout in that rock fight. As again, Giles County gets the win. They move into sole possession of second place in District 8 AAA. The week not as kind to the GCHS Lady Bobcats. They almost pulled off a shocker Tuesday as Tullahoma is undefeated in District 8 AAA, but the Lady Bobcats gave them all they wanted. 54-50 was your final score. The ladies erased an 8-point deficit. Then they erased a 10-point deficit on 2 different occasions, but could not pull through down the stretch. Hard-fought loss as GCHS continues to kind of battle. Friday night, however, not much good for Giles County. They trailed for virtually the entire contest, including a big run 9-0 early for Lawrence County, and LCHS wins it 59-46. Also in that game, Kaya Gibson, talented senior for Giles County, she departed due to injury. No update on her status, but it did not look good last Friday, so hopefully Kaya is okay and we can get her back out on the court. So a tough luck week for the ladies, but GCHS rolls right along. They're in action later this week on Friday at Franklin County. The Richland boys, they cruised in both of their home games last week, knocking off Cornersville 71-40 and then taking care of Community 57-43. Usual suspects were at play there. Carter Edwards, Luke Jones, Caden McCormick, and Andrew Huff all got in the mix, as did Cooper Jackson and Will Shirey. So a nice win, a pair of wins for the Richland Raiders. And finally, UT Southern, the Firehawks and the baseball team were in action. It was their home opener this weekend, and yours truly was on hand to check that out. And it was kind of a fun afternoon as a couple of nice local standouts got some shine in that one. One hyper-local as former GCHS standout Coleman Senior. He started behind the plate for Giles County. And then a former Smyrna Bulldog, Tavian Tigg, who's a fire-throwing left-hander. He was on the mound. Those two combined to give UT Southern a 2-0 victory in their season opener last Saturday at Bobby Walker Field. Coleman Senior is a senior, and it's been fun to watch him, and he will be a staple in the lineup and behind the plate for Giles County. Tigg, meanwhile, he figures to be an imposing force on the mound if Saturday's game was any indication. So make sure you check all that out. That's a recap of what's in print and what's online. And that is the final wrap-up here from Pulaski. A busy, busy week. We've got more baseball. We'll crank softball up here shortly as well. And as always, basketball is coming down the stretch here for our local teams. It's all part of the Pulaski Citizen sports page. Make sure you check it out in print or online at PulaskiCitizen.com.
From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is your weather on Main Street. Happy Wednesday. I'm Kelly Rawson in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. It is a gloomy start to the day with clouds and some rain showers around. Temperatures starting off in the 50s for this morning here in southern middle Tennessee. By the afternoon, though, we will see some scattered to widespread thunderstorms move through around 11 a.m. at the earliest, continuing to move through during the afternoon. We may see some gusty winds with these storms as they move through. Can't completely rule out a low-end tornado threat. Quick spin up type tornado. Again, very low end threat overall. Not a great chance of this coming to fruition. However, we will continue to see those thunderstorms. That is a guarantee for the afternoon. How strong they are, not so convinced that they will become so strong. However, the chance is there, so be sure to stay on guard and stay weather alert. For the afternoon, we will start to see that clear out by the evening around dinner time. Temperatures get back into the 60s and 50s overnight with maybe a few rain showers. Start off your Thursday. Cloud cover, though, sticks around. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We, again, are looking at a chance for some scattered to widespread thunderstorms, maybe one or two of those being on the stronger side. And then we do have a chance for thunderstorms again Thursday night. So we are just seeing one storm system after another. Temperatures stay in the 70s the next few days. Friday, slightly cooler and slightly drier, but we are right back into an unsettled pattern for the weekend with more rain and storm chances.
Well, that's it for Mornings on Main Street, Southern Middle Tennessee. Make sure you get a copy of your local newspaper online or traditional so that you don't miss a minute of all the local coverage that we've got ready for you. For more information on subscribing to any of our newspapers, you can visit mainstreetmediatn.com. That's mainstreetmediatn.com for more information on subscribing to any of our local newspapers. Again, thank you for trusting us with your local news, your local information, sports, and more. And good Lord willing, we're going to be right back here next week on Mornings on Main Street, Southern Middle Tennessee.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
So Busy Bee is a very close-knit family. We fight just like every family does. We have arguments, but we always come out with a solution to the problems. We don't just fight about what we want, we fight about what customers need. We want to make sure that every customer we go to is more than satisfied. And that doesn't just start whenever we show up at their door, that starts when we show up every day at work. We want to make sure that we are serving our customers to the best of our ability.
He shoots, and he scores!
This holiday season, the largest lantern festival in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. Experience more than 1,000 all-new, handcrafted lanterns, towering creatures, magical worlds, and a North Pole village. At the center of it all, the Smashville Ice Rink. Welcome back to Zoolumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.